What's up? What's up? What's up? So I'm doing a pop-up show on a Monday night. I normally only go live on Saturday nights, but it was just too much to happen over the weekend for me not to talk about it early in the week. I just didn't want to wait all the way to Saturday because it's funny. We're going to go over a couple topics, mainly Shedeur, but you're going to see how Shedeur Sanders won the weekend. And you'll see the reasons why, I say he won the weekend. So we'll let some more people get in here. We'll let some more people jump in. Let's see. And I got this bright light. I guess it's in a good spot. It's kind of casting a shadow on my face. That's all right. All right, so we're going to let some more people jump in. Then we're going to get right into it. So I got some videos that I'm going to break down. I'm going to give y'all a little background story on how one actual reporter / analyst was covering the Browns a year ago. He identified something early on, and the rest of the reporters who were there, none of them were able to identify it. So I'm going to look at what he said about Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel this weekend, and I'm going to give his opinion a little bit more weight because he was there for the entire weekend. So some reporters were there. They're saying, oh, it's basically even. A lot of people are saying it was basically even. And I believe the reason why they're saying it's even is because they kind of went into the rookie minicamp looking at it like Dillon Gabriel was ahead of Shedeur Sanders on the depth chart, and they were just looking at he was picked in the 3rd round, Shedeur was picked in the 5th, and they were using that to say he was ahead. One thing, I even said this a lot in my comments, especially on TikTok when I respond to people, I'm telling them, hey, the beautiful thing about sports is once the guys go out on the field, they get to prove us right who believed in them. They also get to prove us wrong who believed in them. So that's the beauty of sports. That's why I enjoy sports so much, because the people on the sidelines, we get to talk and we get all the chatter, but they actually get to go out there and prove what they can do. And it's one of those situations where if Shedeur Sanders would have threw a pick 6 into triple coverage, we would have saw that on every show today. We would have saw everybody talking about it. It would have mattered. We would have saw every person that covers the Browns talking about it. But since it wasn't Shedeur who threw the pick 6, nobody mentioned it. Then they say, oh, it's even. And that's just kind of taking the cheap way out. That is you not looking at what your eyes are showing you and you picking or you determining what you actually believe based on what you see. So a lot of times you don't get to see all this background that the Browns are giving us. So the Browns are saying, you know what? People have interest. We're going to show it. So they showed, game 1, or not day 1. They showed day 1. They showed all their throws. They spoke to the media on day 2. Then day 3, they didn't allow the media to actually record it or anything like that. And that's where it was going to be more 11 on 11. And to me, that just shows how Shedeur was going up. And we even had reporters who've been covering the Browns for 40 years. They're receiving the backlash not because they have an opinion, but because they don't really have a reason for their opinion and they can't put it into words why they believe what they're saying. So one of the first things we're going to get to is, let me get it here. We're going to get to Tony Grossi, who has been covering the Browns for quite some time. So let me just get my screen organized here and make sure I get to the right clip that I want to show y'all. So give me just a second. We do it live over here. All right, there we go. That's not where we want to go. Where's Tony Grossi at? All right, so here we got Tony Grossi. Another thing I'll say about Tony Grossi is a lot of people who are fans of Shedeur, a lot of people who are fans of Dillon Gabriel, they are looking at reporters, and instead of just them reporting on stories, they want analysis, and they believe that they're going to get analysis when these reporters are the only ones there. When they're the only ones that are getting to see what's happening on the field, people are thinking that they're going to get analysis. The problem is we're not really getting analysis when they are going out there. We're more so getting their personal view and how they feel about these guys. And that's fine for you to give that, but it has to kind of make sense based on what people are seeing. So I said this on Saturday. I'll say it again. The Browns never really showed this much. They kind of keep all these things under wraps. They let the reporters in. The reporters watch it. The reporters give us the story of what they believe is happening. And now the Browns are saying, you know what? We're going to put it out there and let people see. And a lot of people are saying, oh, man, they didn't put any throws in there that were bad from Shedeur, but they put in the pick six from Dylan Gabriel, and they also put in when he got a pass swatted. And one thing you got to remember is they also want to highlight when other guys are doing good, not just the quarterbacks. So for them to show those highlights of the other guys, it's probably going to be a low light for one of the quarterbacks. So right on the screen here, we got Tony Grossi. The other guy's name is Chops. They work for ESPN Cleveland. They were there, and just this opening monologue from what they say from the weekend is really funny. So let's get to it. We're going to play this first. Fair use for all the videos I used tonight. I'm probably going to use about 6 or 7 videos just to prove the point of why I believe Shedeur won the weekend. So this is the first one. This is Tony Grossi. If you know me at all, you know I can't watch anything at regular speed. We're at least going to go up to 1.25. Tony Grossi is going to start off, and they're going to start off with just this long soliloquy before they give any information. And this is one of those things that tells me that Cleveland media has not seen this level of pressure or this level of scrutiny. When you're just the Browns, you're the same old Browns, like people like to say, you can say whatever you want. You can report on things however you want. And there's not really that light on you with how you ask questions as a reporter, how you cover the team. If you're able to break down and process what you're seeing and explain that to, the fans of said team. Now that we have Shedeur, there is a different spotlight that's on the Browns. And last year when I'm saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to start my channel because I don't believe they're giving me information. I don't believe they're giving me analysis. Now people who can't give analysis, they're going to be questioned. And they got to face that backlash of when they get questions. And this is Tony Grossi facing that backlash because his initial video after the first day of rookie minicamp, he said basically they were even. After day 2, he said, oh, they're even. And he was kind of dancing around saying, just because I'm saying Dylan is good doesn't mean I'm saying Shedeur is bad. He kind of danced around it. The problem is, since the Browns put out so much tape from this rookie minicamp, people now can go back and question and say, what were you seeing? Because the tape doesn't match what you said you were seeing. And also, Tony Grossi has a big thing about every pass being a spiral. That just shows that he cares more about power. So the Browns had DTR. He scored one of the highest ever of at the draft combine in how hard he could throw a football. That didn't lead to any success in the NFL. So Tony Grossi's been covering the Browns for 40 years. He is very old school with how he looks at certain things, and things that he might hold as important or deem as important aren't that important. I watched old Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl throwing all type of ducks, but he was completing passes, and they won the Super Bowl behind that. I don't care as much if every throw is a spiral. I care more about accuracy and if it's a catchable pass. And he values a spiral to me over if it's a catchable pass or not. So we're going to play it, and just tell me what y'all think in the chat. If you are on X, you can, hit me with a comment on X. If you're on TikTok, go ahead, put a comment in there. If you're on Twitch, put a comment on there too. I'll see it. So just let me know what y'all think. Here we go. First clip.
Talked about this much.
Nope, not at all. And it's only going to intensify as this thing proceeds. So I've come to grips with that. It's not going to prevent me from calling it the way I see it out there. That's what I'm out there for. I'm not out there to spread PR for one guy or another. I'm out there to tell it the way I see it.
Can we put on an olive branch, because you're gonna report what you see. You're no bias in it. You're just reporting what you see. And I think, as you said, you feel like it's a no-win situation because if you support Dylan Gabriel, you're seen as a Sanders hater. If you support Sanders, you're in the Sanders camp. You're simply just reporting what you see, correct?
Well, yes. And then also, when I'm asked my opinion, what am I supposed to do? Of course, you have biases. That's what opinions are, right?
All right, so I'm going to stop him right there. People are not questioning if you have a bias. People are not. If you can actually explain what you're seeing and break it down, people won't push back on you. People will push back on you when you claim to have an understanding of something and then you can't explain it. So that's where I think he's kind of taking a cop out by saying, oh, if you support Shedeur, you hate him, you hate Dylan. No, that's not it. If you say you're reporting on what you see, and after 3 days of rookie camp, one quarterback threw no interceptions and the other one has been reported could have thrown 2 to 3 interceptions, doesn't that change how you view how those two quarterbacks perform, even if it is just rookie minicamp? And anytime you're playing football as a quarterback, an interception is never a positive. So they're calling out the fact that you watched that, you never reported on the interceptions, video came out of the interceptions, and then people are going back and saying, this doesn't match what you told us you saw. That is the issue they have with you. Not that you are, holding pom-poms for one person over the other. It's the fact that you claim to be reporting on what you saw. People are trusting that you are going to give accurate information based on what you saw from you being there. And then you left out key things that happened while you were there. That's why they're coming at you. And I always can tell when a person is dejected and when a person is kind of dug into how they feel about something. And I always say, when a person doubles down in a situation where what they think is incorrect, it shows a hint of weakness. Because the easier thing to do as a man is just man up and say, hey, I saw the interceptions. It's practice. It's mini camp. He was trying something or he forced it there. Nobody would say anything wrong if you at least acknowledge the mistakes. But when you keep doubling, tripling down and then trying to make it seem as though you're calling right down the middle, but leaving out big parts of the story, that's when they question you. So a lot of people think that I have been, just only defending Shedeur in this whole process. But if you look at all of my, you go to my YouTube and you watch all my full clips of my shows, I'm more so calling out the media because the media needs to come into this day and age. Because before, we wouldn't get video of what happened. We would just have to go based on what he said. Last year at Greenbrier, we had somebody named Zac Jackson, who covers the Browns, come out and say, hey, the offense looks really bad. All the rest of the reporters that were there, none of them mentioned how bad the offense looked. He was the only one. He said, hey, this is not right. It's very clunky. They can't move the ball. I'm not seeing that many completions. He called out what he saw. So you can believe a person like that who is willing. Yeah, I mean, the Browns might not like that he called that out, but it was accurate. If you're a Browns fan and you watched the Browns last year, to start the year, our offense was very clunky. We couldn't move the ball. It was just bad offense, and he called it out and he saw it. So that you gain points by doing that and just calling it fair. So we're going to let Tony Grossi talk a little bit longer, and then we're going to go to the next video.
Yeah. So people got to get a grip here that when I'm asked my opinion of who's doing better and for what reason, I'm going to say what I think. So if you can't deal with that, move along. Well, I mean, the coaches are going to make the decision ultimately. So what I say is only my opinion. So just relax and enjoy the journey.
And I think people are dug in on it, obviously, now, and the journey is going to take us a while. But also, I want to point out, you never really ever said either quarterback was bad during rookie minicamp.
All right, so this is dancing around. This is dancing around the subject. This is dancing around what it is. So once football season starts, I got a name set up for my weekly sports podcast, and depending on how well that does, I might do it twice a week. But part of that is going to be not dancing around subjects, not kind of skating through things based on how we see it. What people want now is people want you to tell you, hey, I saw this, and if the coach says this is an open competition, Every time they line up to throw the ball, if it's 7-on-7, if it's just to one receiver, if it's just to a tight end, to a running back, everything matters. And what they want to do is they don't want to face the backlash of people questioning what they actually see. And even in this whole video that they put out, he'll get to, I've been doing this for 40 years and, all this stuff, and, which is cool. But the problem is when you have somebody come in to the Browns like Shedeur and all the eyeballs that, he puts on the Cleveland Browns, people expect more. And they also expect analysis. So if you are part of, the CU aunties, the CU uncles, the CU nephews, if you're part of Buff Nation, you know that you have a lot of podcasts, a lot of things where it's actual athletes breaking down. So they're getting true analysis. In Cleveland, we have more reporters who are trying to give analysis, and it's not working. So covering the Browns, we need more people who are giving us analysis and not giving us just reporters trying to turn into analysis, because it just doesn't match. You see it. It's true. That's what it is. So if you came from watching teams where you get real breakdowns and real reasons why stuff doesn't work, you're not going for this right here. And this is just rookie camp. Wait till we get to OTAs. Wait till we get to the preseason. Wait till we get to more fans actually seeing it, because then people are going to be like, hey, I can't trust nothing y'all saying. So it's one of those things where people think it's only Shedeur, but somebody coming to the Browns like Shedeur, what they do is they just amplify how the reporters kind of been skating by without really fully understanding the game that they even cover. And that's why, that's why he sounds so dejected. And that's why he's like this, because, it's one thing to put your opinion out there and have people critique it, which, I expect that. I accept that. I don't think these people who've been in media for a while, I don't think they're ready for people to put receipts when they say things. I don't think they're ready for people to question when they say this person is better than this person and you can't tell me why. I don't think they're ready for things like that. The problem is, it's kind of like, old media, new media. New media is about receipts. And a lot of times new media is looking at situations differently and they can call it out. So let's see. I think it's going to be one more part where he's going to kind of get to, he might talk about, actually, we don't need to go there anymore. We've seen enough. we know how he feels. He's dejected. He's in his feelings. He can't handle the backlash. So I don't even need to go back to it. One thing I will say, if you watch the interviews, which I covered them on Saturday, if you watch the interviews, he was one of the people to ask Dylan Gabriel about throwing a spiral as if that mattered. So you start to see how they've used certain situations and how they kind of expose themselves. So that's kind of what happened there with Tony Grossi. It's going to be a long year for him. If you are sounding dejected after this, after this rookie minicamp, man, oh man, it's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long year for him. All right, so moving along, let's see what I got next on the board. So now I'm going to jump to, we're going to do these next 3 clips. I'm going to show you how what they're looking for Shedeur to do, and he's not doing it, that's what they're upset about. And also, I'm going to show you how even national media is starting to question, is it really true with how we heard these stories about Shedeur? So this is the first one. I'm not going to play the whole thing. This is Mike Florio and Chris Sims. They're going to talk about they don't see Shedeur as mad enough that he failed to pick 144. So let's see. Let's get this clip. Let's see what y'all think about it.
Because of his dad and how he grew up, I think he's got a great way of kind of compartmentalizing a little bit and being able to go, wait, I can shut that out and I'm going to make it about me. We just, to your point, we hope me is doing the little things that need to be done because of what we saw in the pre-draft process. We're not sure that'll be done, and that's what we worry about a little bit.
At some point, your self-confidence in yourself needs to manifest itself in others having the belief that you can do it. And I'll give you the case in point. Cam Ward, when we were talking to Cam Ward at the scouting combine, and he slipped into like this very intense explanation, I was like leaning forward, riveted. And it made me believe in him. And I think at some point it's incumbent on the player to make others believe in you the way you believe in you. Now, that may happen on the field. Shedeur Sanders may be a unique personality where he can be the ice water in his veins, stone cold killer on the field, and be very relaxed and very loose and untroubled and unbothered by anything off the field. There aren't many guys like that.
Yeah, right.
You're going to see flashes of the guy who is the stone cold killer on the field when he's talking about, especially if he's pissed off. If he's pissed off, you're going to sense it. And that's what I look at Shedeur and I say, man, he doesn't seem very pissed off. He fell all the way to number 144.
Right.
And I'm just based on what my eyes are seeing and my ears are hearing.
Sure.
He doesn't seem very pissed off that he fell to 144.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. But yet, every time to this point, as far as football.
All right, so think about that. Listen to what they're saying. Remember, a couple weeks ago, if you've been following me, I was saying that the reason why Shedeur fell, it was more about power and control. It wasn't really about who he is as a football player. Listen to Florio when he's saying that. He doesn't seem mad enough that he failed to pick 144. What does that have to do with football? This is why some of these guys, they got to come into the year 2025. So if he showed anger, you would applaud that versus him being calm, accepting it, and moving forward from it. Sometimes you just got to question, what are you asking for? What are you asking for? You're asking for him to not be himself. What are the reasons why they said Shedeur fell? He told the team, hey, if I'm not your cup of tea, don't draft me. The point is they wanted to change him. They wanted him to change. They didn't want him to be himself. And now that he's being himself, they have an issue with that. He fell. We can't go back and redo the draft. He was picked 144. He's on the team. Now you're mad that he's not showing anger? What are we doing? So these guys, they just kind of dance all over the place. These are more reporters. Mike Florio is a reporter, used to be an attorney. You can tell that they don't really understand what goes into a football player. And they're also the ones who question if he could receive coaching from someone that wasn't his dad. This rookie minicamp from the weekend showed he can receive coaching. I'm even going to, in one of the clips I have for you, someone who was actually at the rookie minicamp is going to explain how Kevin Stefanski was giving him coaching. He accepted the coaching. He ran the play, what they changed on the fly. So all the things that they questioned about him prior to the draft or during his draft fall when they couldn't stop talking about him, he's already proven that the things that they were saying weren't true. That's why I always question it. People thought I was just caping for Shedeur. Whenever you hear all these different people say, oh, man, he fell in the draft because interviews, I always say, if it's not something that's quantifiable, that's the easiest way for a person to lie. It's the easiest way. Just look at any situation you're ever in. When you work somewhere and they say, hey, I need you to, work better. And you say, okay, what can I do better? And they say, you know what? Be more excited while you're at work. How are you going to quantify my excitement? You can say, you know what? When we have tasks that should be slotted to take 2 hours, you're better than everybody else. So I want to see if you can get it done in an hour and a half because I know you got the talent inside of you. That's quantifiable. So all the stuff they're saying, once they start repeating all of it, first thing I did was question it. I said, I'm not just going to believe this blindly because it's a situation where the teams who said this, they're never going to put out the tape. They got the film. All these teams recorded the top 30 visits. They're not going to put it out. So that's why they can always go back to that because it's something that's never going to come out. So I saw through it. I saw it was lies and I was like, I'm not falling for this. So now let's get to Bomani. So another thing that I'm realizing is a lot of these people who we watch for so many years, they're not putting in the work and they're not doing the research. They're not looking into these guys. The Browns, based on the question, not the Browns reporters, based on the questions they asked Dylan, based on the questions they asked Shedeur, they didn't look into these guys at all. They just believe what other people were saying. I'm surprised. I didn't think Bomani was one of those guys, but he's one of those guys too. He's just taking what other people were saying and he's just running with it. So Here's another one. We can skip up some.
PR about football. And so,
let's see. And his take is very egregious, too. Got to speed him up a little bit.
People are doing the math, and like Dillon Gabriel took the first snaps, and how this goes for Shedeur and everything else. And Shedeur is the one that people have the most questions for in all of this. But I want to take a moment because I had read enough and known enough about how Shedeur carried himself in the pre-draft process, and it was poor, right?
How can he say that definitively? He was never going to be in the rooms. He's never going to see the interview tapes. How can he say that definitively? Let's keep it going.
Contributed to the fall that he had in the draft. And apparently he picked up some game from that. Because the Shedeur Sanders, who was showing up for that stuff, does not sound like the one who showed up to this minicamp, or at the very least, not the one that showed up in front of reporters. Here are a couple of quotes from him that I thought were really kind of prescient and showed, I would contend, a measure of maturity. Quote, "My job here isn't to prove people wrong. It's to prove myself right." Well said. Well said. Another quote. "My story is going to be similar to Tom Brady." So he's talking about, "I was a late round pick, but we're here now, so none of that stuff matters. That just mattered on that day, and I'm just excited to be here, ready to work." These are all the things that somebody in his position needs to be saying out loud. I also noticed that in Tampa Bay, Shiloh Sanders, his brother, he's got long odds to make the team. He's an undrafted dude, but he did media availability and then went and shook hands with everybody that was there for media availability. And guys, I can't tell you this enough. Nobody has to do that.
I'm going to pause this because it's been a story out how Shedeur did the same thing. I believe it was at the Super Bowl. He was on a podcast, and then everybody was waiting to meet him. He dapped everybody up. So this is one of those situations where this is just lazy reporting. All you have to do, they give you the cheat code. They put out so much content. All you have to do is look at the content and say, okay, are they doing things differently now than they did prior to the draft? That's all you have to do. They put it all out there. So these guys are just being lazy. Now he said, oh, Shiloh did this. I hope he didn't miss the other part.
But we are an easy bunch. Media, we're a tough bunch. You just be a little bit nice to us, man. We will be eating out of your hand. That right there was a wise play by Shiloh. Shedeur also did the thing where he got to Cleveland, and the first thing he did is he went and he talked to a high school, and then he said he did not do it for PR. Now, I mean, I understand that there's some lies that you have to tell, right? I get that. But at the same time, good on him.
All right, so I thought we missed it. We didn't miss it. So he just said Shedeur lied about his reasoning for going to the high school. They put out so much content. All you have to do is go look it up. He even said in his interview on Saturday that just look it up. I've been going to high schools in Colorado. He's been going to high schools in Texas pre-draft. He went to a high school, I think one or two high schools in Florida pre-draft. He's been doing this everywhere, Jackson State. These guys, they got to stop being so lazy because they don't understand the storm that's coming for them because people are following these guys. People have been watching them. They've been watching Shedeur since he was on TV when he was about 5-6 years old. They're not just going to let you call somebody a liar and all you had to do was search well off and go to his page, go to Bucky's page and look this stuff up. So this is just lazy. This is something you can easily verify before you came on, and he didn't do that. And I was just when I was going through clips, I was listening to this, and I was just like, that was so easy for you to find. Now, how can I listen to when you talk about the pre-draft stuff? If you couldn't do a YouTube search to find out if he ever visited high school, how can I listen to the other stuff that you say when you're speaking on Shedeur? When you're speaking on Shiloh, because clearly we know you haven't really done any research. It just doesn't make sense. During the pandemic, what was the hottest thing everybody say? Do your own research. The problem is all these guys, they don't do none of their own research. Now, I have a clip from Nick Wright, and first things first is pretty strict because they're Fox. So I'm going to have to not show it, but I'm going to play it, and it's going to be funny what Nick Wright is going to say. Let's see, it's here.
When's the last time the NFL...
let me find this spot real quick because let's see. I think it was around 7-minute mark. I think it's right here. I think I got it. Let's see.
A couple things here, if I may. First one is, every time Shedeur does media, I'm more surprised he did so poorly in these interviews, pre-draft.
So I hope y'all heard that. He said, every time Shedeur does media, I'm more surprised he did so bad in the pre-draft interviews. So then you have to ask yourself, are they telling the truth about these pre-draft interviews? Are they telling the truth? Because right after this, Nick is going to say, oh, the only logical thought is that he bombed him on purpose. But why would he bomb interviews with every team? Why would he bomb interviews with the Giants when his dad said they're praying for the Giants? He got the New York Giants cleats. Why didn't he bomb the interview for the Cleveland Browns? It's right there. The next step is we got to question who is putting this information out there about him bombing these interviews and to what benefit. Because he don't want to, for some reason here, he don't want to question, maybe they just lied. Maybe they made this story up. Maybe they did this. He dropped, it was a thing so we could, certain NFL owners can show that they have power. They want to call it a conspiracy, but when the guy's showing up and they're speaking to him, it doesn't match all the things you've heard. They're going through a mind melt where they're trying to figure out, like, how is this the same person? It never crossed their mind that maybe I've been lied to. Because then if they have to say, dang, I've been lied to, they're going to go back. And then now you got to question the people who are actually putting that information out. Then you got to question the Ty McShays. Then you got to question why Mel Kiper was going so crazy on draft night and everybody was calling him crazy. You got to start asking that next level question once you see more of Shedeur. It's gonna be very interesting to see how things play out, because all it took was one weekend and him talking to the media one time for people to already start questioning it. And this is along the lines of why I said he won the weekend. He won the weekend because everybody's talking about him, but the people who just kept repeating the negative stories about him, even they are starting to question how or why could this happen. Let me just play these next couple of seconds of this so you can hear Nick say it, because first things first is pretty shaky. You'll get a copyright on them. So,
that's the conspiracy, not the theory that he was purposely tanking
right? Which is,
but I don't know if that's been actually reported.
No,
in a real way or not.
To me, that's not a conspiracy theory as much as it is like Occam's razor. Like, it's the most logical explanation. I remember.
You see, the most logical explanation is maybe he was tanking every single interview, versus maybe some of these people just lied. Maybe some of them just ain't telling the truth. They don't want to go there. they kind of dancing, tiptoeing around the line like, nah, it can't be. It can't be. This is not the Shedeur I expected to get. This is not who they sold me on who this guy was. Let's get to the next video. So the next video, let me clean some of this up. We got these out the way. So Zac Jackson. And the reason why we're going to show his video is because he was, let's fix this up for y'all, make it look better. There we go. So this is from 8 months ago, before last season. I think I got the right spot. This is the Orange and Brown Report. Shout out to them, fair use for me using this clip. He is going to talk about how bad the Browns offense looked. And the reason why I'm showing you this is to add to his credibility, because we're going to use a clip from him on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show where he's going to say how he viewed the weekend, and he was there the whole weekend, and he is not going to dance around how he saw the weekend. So this is the first one. Hopefully I got the right spot. Let's see. We're going to speed this time up a little. Let's go 1.25.
But we just haven't seen him put it together. Today in the red zone, Ford had a run. I don't know if it was Ford or Strong and Foreman had a run where the line really got in the full contact and they really pushed him. And that's the first time we'd seen it. Every other run has just been not good. And it's just, like I said, I can tell you why. They're trying to get everybody on the same page. The line is not on the same page. The quarterback is trying to get comfortable. It's what you see in the early stages of an offense this offense is clunking. I'd sum it up right there. You can let me go now. I'll stay in a couple more minutes. This offense so far has been a clunker. The pieces are there for it to be much better than it's been. But there's a long, long way to go. And, panic or dive further at your own risk. Let's see some games. Let's see Jed Wills get back and, see where it goes.
So that was 3 weeks before the preseason last year. He was sounding the alarm. So all these people who we've been showing, like the Tony Grossi, the Chops, I haven't shown Mary Kay today. I'm pretty sure if you were new to following the Browns, you've seen some stuff from Mary Kay. All of them were there, and he is the only one who said it didn't look good. And everybody was like, dang, why is he, he's the only one saying this. So we were thinking he's the crazy one, and everybody else actually saw what was going on. He was the one that was right. He said the offensive line was looking bad. He was worried about us at the tackle position. We couldn't run the ball in practice. So many negative plays it's buried in there, but he's also going to say we couldn't complete a pass more than 4 yards. And if you looked at the Browns offense last year, that describes our entire season. We scored 15 points a game last year. Our offense was very bad. We put up more points once Jameis got in, but Jameis, he was equal opportunity quarterback. He was throwing it to both teams, and whoever wanted it, they would get a chance. So you can have your best day as a receiver in Jared Jeudy, your best season, or you can have your best day as a cornerback because he's throwing you the ball for a pick six. So that's how it was with Jameis. But I wanted to show you someone who was there, who watched everything. He was sounding the alarm before last season. Nobody believed him. Let's see what he says after he watched the entire rookie minicamp this weekend.
We got to pivot, talk a little rookie minicamp with our guy, Zac Jackson. Zach's brought to us today. They make banking more. The only person who told us the truth from Browns camp last season about the quarterback position. It is Zac Jackson.
All right, so they even brought it up there. I forgot they even brought it up there. The only person that told us the truth about the quarterback situation from Browns camp last year. So they even brought it up. So that builds to his credibility.
From The Athletic, and I texted Steve Becker over the weekend and said, Steve, we need Zach in on Monday to bring us some clarity from the only two eyes that got it right last year about what they saw from Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel this weekend. What's up, Zach?
Hi, guys. How we doing?
So who's the starter?
Probably Joe Flacco.
We did solve it, didn't we, over the last 3 days?
Yeah. I probably foolishly underplayed the amount of reaction that there would be to Ricky Minicamp.
I
refused to participate in this.
We mocked it all day Friday. We said that we predicted what's going to happen, and we saw respected journalists, guys. That's the thing that got me. Like serious, diehard, respected journalists that were writing things and posting videos. Like this was.
I told you Friday.
This is the Shedeur Sanders effect. They are confused. They can't understand why there is so much interest in the Cleveland Browns. It's Shedeur. He's the one that brings all the attention. He's the one that brings all the eyeballs. If you go to, I might even show y'all, if you go to the Cleveland Browns, if you go to their YouTube and you look at, I'll show y'all this real quick and then we're going to get right back to what he's saying. So Shedeur Sanders interview from 6 hours ago, 78K views. Dillon Gabriel's interview from a day ago, 13K views. Shedeur Sanders' interview, 192,000 views 2 days ago. Dillon Gabriel's, 19,000 views 2 days ago. So just in the interviews, he is 10x in Dillon Gabriel. That is what they are trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out, like, where's all this excitement coming from? We can scroll down here. We can go down the list. I mean, all our draft picks, first interviews, none of them doing the numbers of Shedeur. Shedeur's first call, 28,000 interviews. 28,000 views. So just the numbers are there. And look at this, Shedeur's conference call 2 weeks ago. This is when he finally got drafted. And this is when he got on the phone with the Cleveland reporters, 250,000 views. This is where the eyeballs are. It's for Shedeur Sanders. And I'm telling you, people are going to be on the chopping block if they start to fall into the trap of following narratives and not just breaking down based on what they see. They can't even understand it. They're surprised that so many people had interest in this. And the Browns, I'm more surprised that the Browns actually put out the content and let the content be released. I'm more surprised than anything that side of it. But they're surprised, and Shedeur Sanders has a massive following. He has people who've been, he has so many people who are following him who are not football fans, but they're fans of him. And that's the part that they can't really quantify. So a lot of stuff with the NFL, you just say, okay, well, it's another player, just a 5th round pick. No, it's a reason why he made the most money in NIL money last year. It's a reason why he's not worried about money. And his family friend, when he was on UCSS, he said basically since the draft, Shedeur made like $24 million. So he has interest. The interest is there. They have to jump forward into the times and handle the interest, because if they don't get on it, they're going to be like Tony Grossi was in that first clip I played for y'all, where he sounded dejected, voice gone. He trying to fight off people saying, hey, just because I say this don't mean this. No, you got to come into it. People want analysis. Give them analysis. Let me get off my high horse. Let me get back to it.
I said, you say, what storyline is this? No. What we talked about Friday was what happened tomorrow going to make a difference? And then we're talking about how it was going to be reported. That's two different things. That's reality and some sort of alternative universe that we lived in which 5-yard swing routes suddenly become, this was an elite throw from a high level.
We have Zac here. So, Zac, tell us what you actually saw, because we were not able to be there in person. Okay. I need your first.
Did anything make you go, oh, my God?
I mean, I'm impressed with the way Shedeur threw the ball. Like, it jumps off his hands and spins it. Now, I don't think it's about how it's covered. It's more about what we've seen.
Sure.
Right? Like, this is what an NFL quarterback's supposed to look like. So, in the realm of it, it's day one. It's step one. I'll remember one thing, right? I'm watching from behind, and Tommy Rees, the new offensive coordinator, and Bill Musgrave, the new quarterback's coach. They are never further than we are from either guy, either rookie QB.
Standing right there.
So at one point, I kind of walk over to get a different angle, and Stefanski walks over. It's Shedeur's turn. He calls him over. He relays something to him. Shedeur goes in the huddle. Like, that's what they're evaluating. Take the play call, command the huddle, get everyone lined up. It's day one. Right. The other stuff, they'll see. They know he can throw, right?
And that's already there.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing. And for Shedeur and Gabriel both, that's what it's going to be. How quickly do they process? How do they take advantage? I think the one thing that was newsworthy that came out of the whole weekend was Kevin saying, look, in rookie minicamp, it's not that much, but we did add competitive periods. We need to get these guys reps, and they need to maximize reps, so we're going to do this. We're going to sign more wide receivers, because in the middle of practice, we're going to have an extra 7-on-7 session, because guys have to be ready. So you look at Shedeur Sanders, he looks like he throws it like an NFL quarterback, and that's where we are. He starts on the field tomorrow with Flacco, with Pickett, with everybody else, and we'll see where they are. I think it's 2 weeks from Wednesday. Yeah, 2 weeks from Wednesday is the first time we'll actually see them full team on the field.
I'm interested in seeing.
See, y'all hear that? The ball pops off Shedeur's hands. He looks like an NFL quarterback, which is important because he was the one who identified last year that quarterback play wasn't looking up to the standard just to be in the NFL. So that's why I showed you that this is not just a one-time thing. He's not just jumping on a Shedeur bandwagon. He's just calling it how he sees it. He called it how he saw it a year ago or 8 months ago, whenever before last season. And people were questioning him, saying, no, it can't be that bad, can't be that bad. So now we're getting the truth. Now we're getting somebody with no bias because he doesn't have a history of bias. So that's why it was important for me to show y'all him. G. Bush is going to ask him a follow-up question. So let's get to his follow-up.
What Kevin Stefanski has done and the way he's changed, the way he runs practice. Can you give us some, outlook on some things that he told and some coaching moments for both Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, where they may have corrected them or tried to get them together on the field?
Oh, they were all getting coached, and Garrett, they were mostly next to each other. Almost every throwing drill was both guys dropping back at the same time, or certainly when they went one at a time, it was 3-4 plays and out. That's standard. What I think will happen as far as coaching points, I think he admitted the extra competitive sessions. Mm-hmm. I think it will be a little more competitive camp in general, but they're not big believers in overdoing it, guys. They're big on the sports science. They're big on this is a marathon. Whether we're going to be great or not, we're going to have fresh legs. We're going to do this. So that's what's going to change. I think he has to have some regret about how uncompetitive last year's camp was. But they scrapped the Greenbrier because they're doing 2 away sessions with other teams. Mm-hmm. It might only be a total of 3 practices, but there are going to be competitive elements of this. And I think last year they felt like, I think stuck is the right word. It's maybe not the great word. I think they got to the joint practices in mid-August, and they're like, this is how bad the offense looked. Well, what are we going to do? I don't think this year they think that because they have so many young guys, and they're in the process. So we're at this weird intersection, right, where you have a veteran team, you have enough pieces to be certainly better than 3-14, but this is really about the future. And you're probably going to have a rookie starting running back, right? You definitely are going to have rookies filling out the bottom of the rotation at receiver and tight end if they're not playing a lot. And at some point this season, more than likely, history says it and reality says it, a rookie is going to be taking real snaps at quarterback for this team. Maybe two.
I know this is a stupid question because it's limited, but did one of the two look better to you in what they were asked to do than the other?
In just throwing the ball, it's not close. Shedeur Sanders.
It's not close
not
either.
Close. No.
Wow, that's okay. Now that's news.
That's news. But let me couch that by saying this is rookie minicamp.
Sure.
No.
So I told y'all, you see the title, Shedeur won the weekend. The reason why he won the weekend was when they finally got around to it and they just asked him the question, did one guy look better than the other? Not close. Shedeur looked better. That's something that a lot of people said. Like, I watched so much pre-draft stuff because the Browns haven't had a first-round pick in 3 years. So the draft, we just been kind of not worrying about the draft. I watched so many breakdowns. I watched so many breakdowns of quarterbacks, everything, because the Browns need quarterback prior to the draft. So I cannot tell you if I ever saw a Dillon Gabriel breakdown pre-draft. I didn't hear anybody talking about him. I didn't hear anybody saying he was on the level of Shedeur, Tyler Shuck, Jackson Dart. I didn't hear any of it. I heard none of it. I didn't see anything until when he got drafted. And if you go back and watch my stuff, when he got drafted, I was like, I'm not really understanding why you have a quarterback room, or more than likely you're going to have a quarterback room of taller guys who are all right-handed, and then you're going to throw a left-handed quarterback in there because they just do things differently. So you're going to have most guys' dominant hand they're rolling out to is going to be to their right. So most of your plays are going to play to that. And then you throw in a wrinkle of having a guy, his dominant hand is his left, where you're going to have him rolling the opposite way so he can feel comfortable. And on top of that, he is a shorter quarterback. So those things, I was just like, man, this pick doesn't make sense to me. But you see it, somebody who was there, somebody who watched it all, he watched day 1, 2, and 3. He just said it was clear. And I'm not surprised by this. The people who are surprised by this are the people who really believed that Shedeur fell because he wasn't a good quarterback. Mainly everybody had a day 1 or day 2 grade on him. Nobody had a day 5 grade on him. So as you start breaking down the layers, you realize he didn't fall for football reasons. And that's when they want to call it a conspiracy. But then you say, man, every time he talks to the media, he doesn't display any of the things that people said he displayed in these interviews. And that's why I got to call the interviews. I got to call cap on the interviews because we can't see it and it's not quantifiable. They're never going to show it. So this is just a thing where we're going to see a change. We're going to see people change the way they talk about Shedeur. We're going to see national pundits change the way they talk about Shedeur because they all piled on Shedeur ever since the draft. They called him everything under the sun. Now they're starting to change. You hear Nick Wright. Man, this doesn't match. Every time he talks to the media, it doesn't match what they said he did in those, pre-draft interviews. Then you got Bomani, who just did no research on him, and he's saying, man, he's talking better. This is how he's always been. He's always talked to the media. He's always been like that. He's always self-reflected. He's always been calm. You just never looked. If you would have watched, they gave you all the film. They put all his post-game press conferences are out there. You can look them up. All this stuff is out there. So these guys were just being lazy. So we're going to see the tides slowly change as it's about football. And they were using this word by saying off the field stuff with Shedeur. Off the field stuff with Shedeur is more eyes and more attention. That's all the off the field stuff is. It's just more attention. You got to be okay with these guys coming in. Does anyone believe that when Arch Manning comes out, he's not going to have attention? Does anybody believe that? Does anybody believe he's not going to have a following? Does anybody believe wherever he goes to play, it's not going to be an influx of his fans that also watch him play there? So this thing is not going away. You're going to have popular guys come into the NFL, and you just have to adjust how you categorize attention and eyeballs looking at them. Because that's all it is. It's not negative things. You can't find me the time Shedeur got in trouble. You can't find me the time, he was running from the police after drinking at a bar getting arrested. You can't find me the times where he is out drinking and not reading the playbook and hungover in practice. You can't find me these things. So when they started saying all that off the field stuff, I was like, man, this is easy. I don't got to believe none of this. And now once they start to see what he is as a football player, we're going to see this narrative shift. So let's see if there's anything else we want to hear from Zac Jackson.
Pads, no full speed competition, nobody coming to knock your head off.
It's telling. They're side by side, and they're not asked to do much, but they're both asked to do the same thing. And that one of them looked discernibly better than the other. I think that I didn't know that we would get that out of this mini.
We're standing here, Jay. They're on the field. They break the huddle from team stretch and team jog, and they go both pick up the ball and throw it. It's no question.
Wow, I think that's telling.
So okay, let me extrapolate that. You got Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders side by side.
G. Bush tried to get him right here with comparing Deshaun Watson and Shedeur. And Shedeur, you don't have enough from him in the Browns uniform to make that comparison. But you see, they pressed him. They asked him 3 different times to make sure he was standing on his square by saying that he believed Shedeur was better. He was the better thrower of the football. He told you how close he was to it. He watched everything. That's why Tony Grossi is getting that pushback. The Browns actually put out this stuff. So a lot of people saw it. That's why they didn't get the pushback. So I appreciate y'all for being here with me. I just decided to do like a quick little pop-up. I normally go live on I normally go live on Saturday nights. One thing I want to start doing is, as we have more important things happening, especially with the interest in Shedeur and just me being a Browns fan my whole life, there are going to be times where I'm going to be able to pinpoint certain situations that happened in the past and then bring you a comparison that others might not be able to, just because people are riding a wave of, Shedeur, which is cool, do your thing, but they just might not be able to give you the same level of insights that I might be able to. So if you are enjoying this, if you like this pop-up that I did, definitely follow me, Offtharecorddee, on all platforms. Just to give you a breakdown on how it goes, tomorrow morning, I'll have this replay out. As long as it doesn't have any copyright stuff in it, I'll have this replay out on YouTube by 11 a.m., you'll have the full thing will stay. It'll live on X, Offtharecorddee on X. Eventually, I'll get clips out for it going into the weekend on TikTok. So follow me on whatever platform you feel the most comfortable on, and you'll be able to tap in and get more content from me. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you all for being here. Shout out to everybody on X, a bunch of people on X. Shout out to everybody on Twitch. I appreciate y'all. Until the next one, peace.